What's up, you guys? This is Gabriel. Welcome to another video on how movies and video games should go. And this time, again, this is on a movie. This is about how I think Sonic the Hedgehog movie 3 will go. I've talked with you about the theories I've heard about yesterday. Matty's clothes representing Sonic characters who will appear in the next film, and then Shadow being hidden for 50 years, while Wachowski family protected the town for 50 years. So basically, you know, after having these theories for a while, I feel like I have the perfect prediction and the perfect theory of how I think Sonic Movie 3 will go. And although one thing I didn't really talk about just yet, which I am not sure how well it will start off the film, but I've watched the Knuckles series, and after seeing how the Knuckles series began and seeing how it ended, you saw we first see Knuckles getting grounded for his reckless behavior. He was mainly just struggling to adjust to his new home. Then he goes training Wade after learning from Patrick Kamak that his quest is not really over, and it probably never will be, and he abandons the Wachowski's house, and as he starts training Wade, he ends up developing a really good friendship and good relationship with him, and they start to understand each other very well. And after the show ends, after watching the final episode, it just remains unknown if Knuckles is going to return to the Wachowski house or if he's just going to stay with Wade from now on. But, you know, but I will tell you this, hopefully Knuckles is going to be in the third movie, although for some reason no one knows if Adam Pally will return as Wade in Sonic Movie 3 or not, but, hopefully, we might see Knuckles in the third movie just willing to accept how things are, and hopefully, Matty and even Tom will understand that Knuckles is just, trying to get used to things on Earth, Anyway, so, from what I've been talking about so far, Matty's clothes, and the colors of them, and then two things happening for 50 years, here is how I think Sonic Movie 3 will go. So, it's probably going to start off with some flashback. We'll probably see words like 50 years ago, or just the numbers 1974. We're probably going to see Eggman's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, working on something because he wants to help people. He wants to help, the hurt, the sick, especially his granddaughter Maria. And he creates Shadow the Hedgehog, and he's known as the ultimate life form. And he introduces Shadow to Maria, and they become best friends. They start enjoying life, similar to how Sonic does with Tom, Matty, Tails, and Knuckles. And so as for the 1974 thing, like I mentioned yesterday, the two announcers during the bowling tournament in the final episode of Knuckles, they mentioned something that happened in 1974 during a tournament around that time. So, I guess in 1974, sometime after Shadow was created, um, you know, I guess Shadow was probably sitting on one of the benches somewhere with Maria, watching the bowlers compete against each other, and um, before you know it, we see GUN soldiers crashing the competition and crashing the party because they're trying to track down Shadow and they believe he's a threat. And the moment Maria and Shadow see the soldiers, they try to run and hide somewhere, and they do not know that there's a baby on his stroller somewhere. And when the baby sees them, I guess the baby gets really scared, starts crying, and until, I guess, whoever his father is tries to shoot Shadow in order to protect his baby boy, but Maria gets in the way and sacrifices herself for Shadow, which leaves Shadow very devastated and angry. And before you know it, Shadow gets captured by the GUN soldiers, and then he is hidden in their system. And then, because they assumed that he created a monster, they decided to capture Gerald Robotnik and then execute him. And from that moment on, Shadow's been hidden. He's very angry because of what happened, and because, Maria's his cousin and Gerald is his grandfather, especially after playing games like Sonic Adventure 2 and the Shadow game. All this explains why Eggman is angry and why he's evil, why he's fed up with the world, and why he wants to dominate it. Of course, losing someone you care about is very emotional, but to take your frustration out on the world because of that, why do that? And then 50 years later, following the events of Sonic 2 and Knuckles, I guess Sonic and Tails are just chilling somewhere with Tom and Maddie, and because of how the Knuckles show ended, they're probably missing Knuckles. They're wondering where he is, and although they may feel kind of disappointed that he left while he was grounded, I mean, I'm sure Maddie feels bad for what he was going through while trying to adjust to his new home, and I'm sure she's feeling that way for him, and most definitely Tom is too, and so is Sonic and Tails. And I do hope that if Knuckles returns to the Wachowskis' house, they can come to a compromise. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that after being on his adventure with Wade in the TV show, Knuckles has probably learned a lot. Maybe not too much. He probably doesn't know everything, but he must have learned some really important lessons. And I don't know. Because we don't know if Adam Pally will return as Wade or not. He probably won't, I guess Wade will probably be on vacation somewhere. I don't know. But one thing I want to mention real quick is, meanwhile, I guess while missing Knuckles, well, Knuckles is probably going to be somewhere in Wade's house, yet he might be on vacation somewhere. Then again, I don't know if Wade does appear in Sonic Movie 3. Whether or not if he is there, we're probably going to see Knuckles somewhere, I guess enjoying where he is with, the Whipple family, but he's probably also going to start missing the Wachowskis, especially his new friends, Sonic and Tails, whom he used to be enemies with. And before you know it, we're also going to see Eggman, who has been recovered by Agent Stone after his fall from the second movie. And because of being defeated so many times, he gets so depressed and upset that he ends up letting himself go. And by doing that, he's literally becoming the typical Eggman that we've known from the Sonic video games. A fat Eggman. Yeah, he's probably going to be fat in this movie. Who knows? And I guess Agent Stone is gonna tell Eggman about Shadow, and and then Eggman will definitely get the idea of awakening Shadow, telling him, ordering him to dominate the world and kill everyone, especially after what happened to Maria and Gerald, and Eggman is not the only one who's been angry about Maria's death and Gerald. So is Shadow. But Shadow at some point is probably going to handle the situation differently than Eggman. And before you know it, not only will Eggman possibly mention about how upset he was about Maria's death and Gerald's death, but he was also, I guess, even when they were alive, he probably felt neglected by them. He definitely felt that Maria was a favorite child. He's probably going to be like, "Oh, Daddy is not nice to me. Mommy's not nice to me," or things like that. Well, yeah, and he takes that frustration out on the world. What the heck? And and so yeah, he's gonna order Shadow to try to dominate the world. And before you know it, something happens. And if Knuckles sees this, he's probably gonna go to the Wachowskis' house and warn both Tom and Maddie, and of course Sonic and Tails, about what's going on. And hopefully, we'll see them apologizing to each other. I mean, Knuckles will probably apologize for leaving and for his reckless behavior, and hopefully, you know, Maddie, of course, will forgive him. And after warning them, I guess Sonic and Tails will probably go confront Shadow, and hopefully, because he's an inventor, Tails will have probably created things that Sonic could probably use during his quests. And while going to confront Shadow, Knuckles is gonna, Knuckles will probably go looking for the Chaos Emeralds. I mean, they got the Master Emerald, but if you remember in the second movie, before Knuckles restored the Master Emerald, the Chaos Emeralds in the second movie, split apart after Sonic reverted to his base form. So yeah, while Sonic and Tails go confront Shadow, maybe Eggman if he's there with him, Knuckles has to go look for the Chaos Emeralds. That way, whatever the final battle will be, or however bad things will get as the movie progresses, they're gonna need the Chaos Emeralds. And we're definitely gonna see Sonic go super again. Now, so while Knuckles goes looking for the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic and Tails, I guess, confront, Shadow somewhere. And, like what we hear in games like Sonic Adventure 2, uh, because they look alike, Sonic is probably going to show. Well, Sonic is probably going to call Shadow a fake, and then Shadow will try to call Sonic a fake, and then they start fighting, and hopefully we'll see Tails with things that Sonic can use during his quests. But Sonic will probably get beat at some point during the fight, and if Shadow flees, then before you know it, the people, especially GUN, are gonna see Sonic and mistake him for Shadow, accuse him of Shadow's crimes, and with Tails there, they're gonna accuse him of aiding Sonic for his crimes that he did not commit. And before you know it, um, you know, if Tom and Maddie see what's happening on the news, I mean, because if Knuckles is warns them about what's happening before Sonic and Tails decide to go and confront Shadow, then hopefully Tom and Maddie will believe that Sonic would never do things like this. And I guess before trying to go help Sonic and Tails get bailed out from prison, which GUN is going to lock them up into, Shadow is going to probably appear in the Wachowski's house and confront Tom for something. And remember, I mentioned earlier about in a possible flashback, however it might go, where a father of a baby tries to shoot Shadow, but Maria gets shot instead. Well, obviously, especially with my theory from yesterday about, you know, the Wachowski family protecting the town for 50 years and Shadow being hidden for 50 years, then that baby who was on the stroller who got scared of Shadow, and at this point he's probably not going to remember until Shadow jogs his memory after appearing in his house, but that baby has got to be Tom. It's got to be Tom. And yeah, we're probably going to see Shadow confronting Tom and accusing him of Maria's death when it's really his father's fault. At first, Tom probably won't remember, but hopefully Shadow will do something to jog his memory. But, you know, he's going to accuse Tom, and Tom will try to say that he's nothing like his father. He would never hurt the innocent. He would try to say that as a cop, he protects those. He doesn't just go around hurting anyone, unless if it's self-defense. And things are just not going to go that well. And meanwhile, while trying to obtain the well, before I get into that, let me just mention this. You know, hopefully while Sonic is in prison, that, you know, I'm not sure if they're going to appear in Sonic Movie 3, but, you know, after, you know, because I mentioned about Maddie's clothes representing the Sonic characters, especially in the first episode of Knuckles, where she's wearing pink while confronting Knuckles for his bad behavior. Hopefully that will lead to Amy. And if she appears in Sonic Movie 3, hopefully we will see her bailing Sonic and Tails out. And possibly helping them, confront, helping them clear their names. And I guess she might claim that she may have seen someone tying two people up. And hopefully, if that's, the Wachowski family, then, then if Sonic and Tails go home, and hopefully if they see Tom and Maddie tied up somewhere, and they see Shadow has something to do with it, then most definitely Shadow's going to say that, hey, Tom's father is the one who shot Maria. And then Sonic and Tails, they're going to try to reason with Shadow about stuff like this is going to lead to madness. There is no way Maria would want something like this. Shadow, they're going to try to remind, hopefully, knowing how smart Tails is, hopefully he'll do some research and find out that Shadow was, created to protect the world and care for people. It may not be easy for him to realize, but hopefully he'll become a good guy at some point and realize the promise he made to Maria and just try not to hurt anyone. And while all of this is going on, Knuckles is going to obtain the Chaos Emeralds, and as he's doing that, I don't know if she's going to be in this movie either, but hopefully we'll see Rouge the Bat, because, we got GUN now, and of course, Rouge is a GUN agent, yet despite all of that, she's also a jewel thief, and if she sees Knuckles with the Chaos Emeralds, she's going to try to get them. They're probably going to fight over the Chaos Emeralds for a while, but hopefully at some point, Rouge will stop. And if she learns about what's going on, especially with the situation with Shadow, you know, hopefully she'll work with Knuckles and the rest of the gang to put a stop to this threat. Now, before you know it, at some point, Knuckles will realize his mistake. He'll realize his promise. He'll untie Tom and Maddie, especially being that, despite Tom being the son of someone who shot Maria, I mean, he knows that I'm sure Shadow will understand it was an accident. But knowing Shadow's character, it's not easy for someone like him to accept apologies. And as a result, because he's the one ordering Shadow to dominate the world, and now his alliance with him is going to fail, Eggman is going to go crazy. And in case of his, and basically he's going to work on something, that will definitely try to dominate the world. It could be Metal Sonic, or he might just awaken BioLizard, which I highly doubt might appear in the third movie. Who knows? And, I guess whoever appears in the final battle, whether if it's Metal Sonic or BioLizard, Eggman's going to do something if his alliance with Shadow doesn't work. And before you know it, after finally obtaining the Chaos Emeralds, and after seeing either Metal Sonic or BioLizard trying to dominate the world or destroy the Earth, we're going to see Super Sonic and Super Shadow fight whoever the final boss is. Hopefully we'll hear Live and Learn playing. And if it's required, Shadow will probably sacrifice himself along with BioLizard or Metal Sonic, and I don't know if he'll survive it or not, like he did in the games, where we thought he sacrificed himself in Adventure 2, and then he survives in Sonic Heroes, and then he tries to regain his memory in the Shadow game. But regardless of what happens, Shadow will realize his promise to Maria. He'll team up with Sonic, help him, and he'll probably sacrifice himself, along with whoever the final boss is. And next thing you know, everyone, especially GUN, are going to realize their mistake on, getting rid of Gerald Robotnik and keeping Shadow hidden for 50 years. And if there's a post-credit scene in Sonic Movie 3, then hopefully whoever it is we see in a post-credit scene, it'll definitely prepare us for the fourth film, if that ever happens. And I don't think following this will work, but, like I mentioned yesterday, Maddie's clothes tend to represent Sonic characters who will appear in the next film. And I guess depending on what kind of clothes Maddie will wear in Sonic Movie 3, it might lead to whoever may appear in the post-credit scene and possibly the next film as well. It could be Blaze the Cat, it could be Silver, the Hedgehog, or anyone. But we don't know for sure just yet, so, I guess we'll just wait for the film to come out and see what happens. Anyways, thank you all for watching this video, and what do you guys think? How do you guys think Sonic Movie 3 will go? Let me know in the comments. Alright then, well, have a good day, you guys. See ya.